What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy ABK, and thank you for checking out another one of my weekly Forex analysis where I go over Forex commodities, indices, and crypto pairs. So first things first, I always check on Forex Factory to see all the major technical analysis news, and boy, do we have a lot of news this week. So we don't have any news on Monday or Tuesday, but on Wednesday during London session, that's when the major news starts. It's going to be starting off with Euro news at 2:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All of these are Central Standard Time, by the way. So we have French flash services PMI, and then we have German flash manufacturing PMI. So you want to watch out for any volatility with the Euro markets. We do have OPEC JMMC meetings all day for all currencies, but that's not something that I really pay attention to. It's more for oil and stuff like that when we talk about this meeting. USD, we do have core retail sales and retail sales, and we also do have FOMC. So on the US dollar, definitely expect some type of like prices going one way during like between now and Tuesday, and then Wednesday when FOMC happens, then it's gonna go a different way, type of thing, right? Um, we have NZD news at 3:45 p.m. right before the markets change to the next day, and then we have employment change and unemployment rate for Australian dollar at 6:30 on Wednesday. Thursday, 2:30 a.m. we have the France news, GDP news at 6 a.m. and then tentative monetary policy statement for the JPY. So there is a good amount of high impact fundamental news that you have to watch in the market. But again, I don't really care for fundamentals when I'm trading the market. I only look at what I'm seeing on the charts. So if it goes hand in glove with the news, then hey. But there are times where a good fundamental analysis will ruin a good technical analysis, right? So let's go ahead and get things started. Oh my goodness, this gap in the market though. So I know everybody's been hearing about COVID-19 vaccines and stuff like that, and seeing that the U.S. is also asked to be using COVID-19 vaccines and all that stuff. So there was a huge gap to the downside on the DXY. I was not expecting that to happen. Um, but anyways, yeah, you see, this is where price opened up at, and then it came all the way down here. But one thing that we've been seeing is that price has just been just kind of going sideways right here on the 4-hour time frame. Let me actually get rid of this because this already played out. So we're just having a lot of sideways movement with the DXY right now. I kind of not really feeling the way how it's moving right now. I would want price to either A, come down here again to keep going to the upside, or B, just come up here and then break out to the upside or whatever. I'm mostly looking for the upside move. I'm still looking for this to happen. I'm still looking that if price wants to go bullish, for it to come back up to 92.136 and then end up dropping. I'm still watching for that to happen, or just watching for price to get up here, period. But if we go into the daily time frame, all we really do have is consolidation for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like basically for the past 2 weeks, we've only been seeing consolidation down to the downside for the DXY. So I really do. Well, let's just say even from this high right here, from this swing high to right here, still want price to come over here to the 61.8 naturally for like the long term type of move. But at the same time, it's like not really. It's not in a favorable place to do any of that, especially with it opening with a gap like this. Kind of makes it tough for me to want to trade it. If I go to the 1-hour time frame, let's just say, for instance, that you taking it from this drop that price had right here, right? If we draw a fib from right here to down here, kind of looks like the price came up to the 78.6 just to drop, and it's gonna just come down here. So what I'm just gonna do, I'm really gonna be patient with the DXY. I do, like I said, I do want the bullish move to happen so that it could like correct itself and then drop some more. But I'm just being patient with it overall, right? So let's go ahead and go over here to arbitrage. So the daily time frame doesn't really have anything for us. 4-hour time frame is just it's only saying that it's calling for a sell because price gap to the downside. So again, I'm just really watching how this is going to play out because I'm not really necessarily ready to like. I don't want to sell DXY just yet, or I'm not looking for the dollar to get weaker. So same thing with all these pairs. Since there was a gap in the market, then arbiter is going to be kind of thrown off. So I'm not going to be really even paying attention to this right now. But same thing. DXY right now, I'm not really. I still want this bullish push up, but I'm not getting into anything quite yet. I mean, if you kind of want, you could still even use this fib right here. So from this low to this high, price is still respecting, coming up at this 78.6 level. It popped up twice from even right here when price made this previous high, and then over here, same thing. Price came back down to the 78.6 so we could see what happens, but I'm not really trying to trade anything at this point in time regarding the DXY. So gonna just have that going. So Euro USD. Last week we got into this intraday trade with 70 pips. It hit take profit, and then we also got into this trade, but our stop loss got hit at break even. So I'm just gonna close those out. See what we have here on the daily, to be honest, before I do anything. Oh, hold on, actually. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Confirm. All right, so DXY still looking very bullish. I still want price to come back down here. That's a good question. That is a very good question. I'm actually going to speak on that right now. What's your take on market gaps? Is the perception that market gap always gets filled true? Eventually, every single gap that you see in the market does get filled, but that is very much, it is dependent. It doesn't like mean anything because it could happen within an hour. It could happen within 2 hours. It could happen within a week. It could happen within a month. It could happen within a year. So yes, the notion that every single gap does get filled, that is accurate, but it's not dependent on anything. It's just basically the market has moved during the weekend and has left this much space. And so with that gap that happened, there is still this volume that needs to be obtained at one point or another before price continues going to where it needs to go. Right? So, and this is a strategy that even there's some people that trade this. They'll wait for price to climb up a little bit, come back to close the gap, and then, like, let's say, for instance, price gap to the upside, they would wait for the price to go up a little higher, like let's say to these highs, and then they'll try to sell it so that price could come back to fill the gap up. Which, hey, that's a pretty decent strategy. It's just not for me personally because I've seen it where it could actually wreck you. So it could actually like do definitely worse damage. But yeah, like I said, there's some people that they really just would wait for price to climb back up here, then they'll sell it, and then wait for price just to close it back up, and that's it. That's not a bad because let's say if I were to get into that type of trade, like I wait for price to get up here, my risk to reward would be phenomenal. It'd probably be like I'm only risking, this is like if you're risking 10 pips right here, that's a 1 to 4.86. So it's not a bad idea. Because like we said, like I said, gaps, they do get filled in the market eventually. Doesn't matter how long it takes though. It could take years before a gap gets filled up. Like I'm pretty sure if I go on the weekly time frame, I could find a gap that hasn't been filled up. It just takes a matter of time, you know? But anyways, EU still holding up at this resistance right here that it came up and respected on the last weekly candle. If you go to the daily time frame as well, we see some rejections right here. So again, I'm still looking for price to come down to the 71% fib. This is where actually I'll get into a very good swing buy. If price does end up coming down to 1.17689, then continue to the upside. That's what I would have loved to see overall. But that, like I said, just depending on price, that's what price wants to do if it does want to go bullish. But as of right now, I just want to see price drop. So I'm not looking for any buys right now. I'm just looking for sells, in my opinion, right? Let me come over here. Let me get rid of this real quick. And so with the gaps that happen, same thing. You're going to see a lot of like weird plays in the market or weird things that arbitrage is showing, but I'm not really going to be playing off of this. I still like this 4-hour buy on arbitrage, but it's just been calling buys and sells, but it's still playing at this upper danger zone right here. So I'm still really confident that this is going to drop, but it's just at this point in time, I'd rather personally wait, especially with arbitrage calling for the buy with the gap to the upside. Maybe try to see if price is going to climb up to 1.21630 or something like around here, 1.21500, and then we'll see if price decides to drop from there. So that's what I'm looking for. But other than that, like I said, being patient, not going to really rush anything with this pair. Okay. So let's go on over to GU. All right. So GU last week was a nice, beautiful trade. Ended up getting a cool 223 pips from there. So let's go ahead and close this off. All right. So yes. Same thing. USD pairs and of course GU pairs. I mean GBP pairs with the Brexit news opened up with some gaps, right? So again, I kind of have to see these gaps get filled up before I even decide to trade. I'm not comfortable. Me personally, I'm not comfortable with trading when there's gaps in the market until gaps get filled, especially on lower time frames like this. I'd rather just wait for price to come and crash down to come and fill this gap back up at 1.3200, right? Or 1.32100, right? But there's some people who like to trade this type of way. Like they're like, oh well, so let's say for instance, I'm grabbing the fib from right there and then I drop it down here. Prices already came to the 61.8, so I'm just gonna go ahead and sell it down there. For me personally, no, I'm not. I can't, like I said, I can't trade with this, especially with this huge of a gap. This is a 90 pip gap. So that the chance of price even climbing down to this low it exists. It very much exists. But let's say that price comes back all the way up to these highs before it does that. That's why I'm being patient. I'm gonna you know what? I'm just gonna let the markets that have a gap, let them do their thing. And when I feel more comfortable trading in the market, that's when I'll come in. But until then, not really feeling it. But on a daily time frame point of view, or even on a weekly time frame point of view, right now, all I'm seeing, just from this right here, seeing a possible double top, and then price coming down to retest down here before it continues to the upside. I'm not paying attention to any of the Brexit news or anything like that. I don't pay attention to technical analysis when I'm trading in the markets. I usually focus on just technical analysis. But where I would like to be seeing price come down to, it almost came in here. But even from this, I would rather price come down here to 1.29250 before I start thinking about, okay, maybe I would want to buy it or something like that, you know? But I do like, hold on, let me change this up real quick, buy box. But I do like this trend line that price broke through. So if I draw a trend line right here, oh, it didn't, it actually respected it. Yeah, then never mind. I definitely take that back. I would definitely only be like I said, I need to see first of all that gap get filled up, and then I need to see some type of I don't know, because even if we get a break in the retest, price coming down here, that would still be great, but I would still want to look for a push to the upside as well, you know? So I'm still a little iffy on it, but I'm just gonna wait on GU. No reason for me to rush into anything, especially with that gap. Not feeling it at all. So I'm just gonna wait and see what happens though with this. But from this point of view, it looks like this is gonna continue to the upside. Okay. GU arbitrage 4-hour, like same thing, guys. All this doesn't look that great, and especially me seeing the daily time frame prices bounce off the RSI line like that. Yeah, this could be potential push to the upside. You see how it did it right here? it was respecting it all that time and then pushed up. So kind of want to see what it does. But for now, patience. Patience is the game. We gonna play it. Okay. AUD USD. I heard some people got wrecked on AU, and it's the reason why I don't trade this thing, man. So you see, so this is what I wanted for AU to have for AU to do for me to get into the trade, for me to get into the buy. I wanted price to come in down to fill out all this imbalance that it has, and then push up, but it never did that. So it's just gone and create a higher high. Let's see right here what we have on the weekly. So it's broken through this, came in here. So kind of what I really would want to see on AU. Don't want to see these anymore. But what I would want to see really is for price to come down and retest this and then continue on to the upside. Oops. And then continue on to the upside because it looks like for sure AU is not looking to slow down. And so there's no point in trying to like fight with the market. You're going to lose every time. So what I would just do is try to play with the trend. So I would expect price to come down. I'm actually going to be expecting price to do a lot of like sideways movement. I'm expecting a lot of sideways movement on the Australian dollar because let's just look at it on a weekly perspective, right? He said how many weeks from down here? It said how many weeks? It said 273 days of price just being bullish and going to the upside. Now, we know it's not consistently 273 days, but it's made that move without doing any type of like retracement or anything like that, right? Whereas same thing to the downside, just look from right here. Price came from right there to down here, 791 days. Sorry. From here to down here. It was bearish 763 days, or 763 days where price has been bearish. So even look at it this way. Let's just say that, for instance, you want to take a fib from that high to this low. Look where price is currently at, 78.6 from that huge fib. Now, I'm not going out and telling you guys that you should be looking for sells here, but I'm for sure not looking for any type of buys, especially on like the daily or the 4 hour. If I were to try to see if I'm taking this back up to the upside, I would need to have this retest first. And so no matter what, I'm just looking for that retracement. AU gave us a gap to the upside as well, but it's not as bad as with the GU and EU. I could see probably after this little push to the downside, maybe a retest. Yeah, I could see this possibly dropping back down to 0.75198. But again, with gaps, I don't really care to trade them. Hold on, first of all, I need to change this. There we go. So yeah, saying that it's gonna drop from here is not a bad idea, but AU has just been extremely trash, and I don't want to just like go for a sell just because of anything. Like you can definitely take the sell from here, but it's just a little riskier. I don't care for it as much, but by all means, do your thing. Let's go to the arbitrage real quick. Yeah, even like look at this. Like we got the sell right here, but then the 1 hour said, "Nah, I'm buying." Absolutely took off. So I'm kind of looking for AU to do a move like this before I get in. Realistically, I want the breakout. Arbitrage give me the 1 hour sell alert, and then give me the retest, and then yeah, I'll think about selling it. But other than that, not really looking at anything for AU. So I'm gonna go ahead and just set up that alert. Short, once per bar close, create, and we'll see how that happens. So let's see what happens here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that as blue. So I'm watching it. Let's go on to GA. Ooh, hold on, boy. So GA, naturally, just like every other pair. Well, not every other pair, but naturally this has called for, it gave a gap to the downside, or to the upside, I mean. It's a huge gap. Let's see how many pips it is from where it's currently at. 111 pip gap. That's huge. But for me personally speaking, I kind of still want to see. I want to see GA hold exactly where it's at, right? Because there's this trend line that I had drawn last week. I don't know how many of you guys remember it, but it's from on the daily or even on the weekly time frame, stretching all the way back from 2016. That price is just finally broken. It's finally broken through it. And that's where right now it's currently just like retesting that area. I kind of want to see this drop right here, like drop, push up, continue to the downside. That's what I want to see on GA right now. Not really caring for any type of buys, especially with the other GPs, like especially with AUD. Let's not even talk about GPs. Let's talk about AUD. It acting like it wants to continue going to the upside. So that's what I'm really looking for on GA. But for me to personally get into this trade, I would need for this to happen. From the recent push to the downside, not even from when it came and hit this trend line right here, I don't think it's going to buy, personally speaking. And I don't even like break and retest like that. Like, it just depends on where price would need to be at. I want to get price to come back up to 1.78575 for me to then look for a continuation to the downside. Possibly even take price to these extensions. Possibly, but like that's a swing move right there. So again, that's what I would be looking for on this currently. I'm not really caring for any type of buys on GA. And even if we go on the weekly time frame, let me just hide this real quick. So even on the weekly time frame, like we can see like that's a huge bearish engulfing candle. So it's kind of like, let's see what really happens here. But yeah, again, price is broken through this trend line, retesting it, and it's holding there. I need to see this drop, personally speaking. And this is definitely in a downtrend. Been dropping since March of 2020. So why not? 1 hour time frame giving us that buy call. I like seeing that, although I do want to see that gap get closed. But again, guys, I really want to see price do this type of move for me to get into the sell, right? Oops. Right here. So I would want to still see price come up to like the 71% or 78.6, which matches nicely with the upper danger zone right here. And then for price to continue to the downside. Right? So that's what I'm looking at for arbitrage as well. So that buy call that is given is cool and everything, but I'm not buying the retracement because again, I don't like when there's gaps in the market. That's just not my thing. Okay, so that's for GA. Gonna be watching for it. EA, again, I'm glad I didn't tell anybody to hop into this sell or this buy buy last week because it definitely didn't do that. So just gonna close off most of the stuff. Let's see. And that's why sometimes when you have an order that you're waiting for it to get hit, you just don't trade. You just wait for it to get hit, and if it doesn't, then oh well. But weekly time frame, just kind of like what GA looks like. EA is just right now at this huge level of support. Waiting to figure out what exactly it wants to do. And again, if we're using a trend line on this move, we can still see that EA can come back down and still come and touch these just down here. If we're looking at from this 1, 2, 3 touches on the weekly, but then if we're looking at it from like this point of view, then what do we see? We see that price has broken through this, retested it, and then it's continuing to the downside. I'm feeling more of a downside push move on EA than a bullish move currently. But in order for me to actually get into that, again, same thing with EA, what I would need to see is for price to climb back up, retest this, and then continue to the downside to make lower lows. I don't personally like just trying to sell from right here because I do know the possibility of price continuing to the upside exists. But I also don't want to buy because price is clearly in a downtrend and it's clearly broken a huge trend line and has already retested it. So it's like, that's why I said for me to get into this sell, I would need for price to climb up. So again, EA, just waiting on it, not really making a move on it per se. 1 hour time frame, this looks way better than GA or any other pair that I've seen on arbitrage today. So this is what I'll probably be playing. EA, and this is funny because this happens every week almost, where I'll get into an EA buy and then it'll go and hit profits, right? So I want the breakout, retest, continuation to the upside for EA on the 1 hour time frame. I'll set up that alert to get in once per bar close. And then if I go to the 15-minute, see what that looks like. It hasn't necessarily called for that buy either, but it's just about to do that. So if you want to go ahead and try to get into that breakout buy, then absolutely. Again, I'm just going to chill. Like, we already getting signs of the buy, but I'm just going to be chilling, not really worried about trading right now because it's just, I'm not seeing anything. Like I said, EA looks really good, but I want the breakout first. I want the breakout, retest, and continuation to the upside. But I do like seeing all this drop right here. So be prepared for that. EG. Let's go over to Eurogbp. Now, EG, this is a trade that I was holding on to myself because this is a swing trade idea. I missed this entry, unfortunately, because I didn't set a limit, but I missed this entry. But so as we can see, price had pumped up and then it dropped, came to these equal lows, and then price is pumping up to the 61. It hit the 78.6 even, and I'm expecting EG to drop. Right now, currently, I'm 23 pips in profit, but I still do like this EG sell right here. I wish that my 78.6 position would have been able to like go and hit. I didn't, but that was my fault. I didn't set the limit order. But yeah, I'm still expecting this to continue falling. 4 hour, there's a huge gap to the downside. I'm already in this trade, so I can't really say that, oh, I don't like being in a trade when there's a gap. But like I said, I'm already in it, so I can't really. I've been in it since last week on Friday, so just been not really caring, question mark. But anyways, yeah, just like that spike to the upside. I mean, if price can come back into my sell area, then I'll definitely be notifying people, hey, my trades, my EG trades come back to my entry. If you want to get in, now's the time to do it, type of thing. But yeah, so I'm in this currently, but I don't, like I said, it's just a trade that I've been already looking at. EG 1 hour time frame naturally is going to call for the sell. But again, if anything, I would definitely need price to come back up to retest that RSI line before I jump back in, which would be basically in my entry. 4 hour time frame hasn't called anything quite yet. Let me get rid of these. And daily naturally is definitely not calling for no buy. I mean, for no sell. So, but yeah. Yeah, call for the buy right here, retested, pushed up, like that. But yeah, EG, definitely, like I said, if it comes back to my entry, I'll let y'all know. Oops. So Euro NZD. Ooh, Euro NZD is a tough cookie, right? Okay, so EN, last week, I had tried to sell it in the beginning of the week. Price pushed up, got the arbitrage exit, so I'm like, all right, let's dip out. It's dropped down, though, to my area of interest. Now, if I can get price to come down to 71%, I might actually get into this buy because I still am bullish on EN overall. I'm just really kind of iffy on this play because if you take a look, price had came down and it hit the 61.8 nicely, and then it pushed up to the upside to the 23.6. That's basically already the trade that I was looking at. That's basically already the trade I was looking at. Between 61.8 to the 78.6, I take 70% of my profits on the 23.6. Whatever the market wants to do, that's none of my concern. So at this point, I'm kind of iffy on trying to still have price push down here to continue to the upside. But I'm just going to be patient and wait on it. I'm not going to try to force a trade at this point in time. There's no need to. The 4 hour still looks good for this move, though. Absolutely, like it still looks very good for this move for it to happen. But again, if that's you just got to take your precaution. So this is the setup that I'll be looking for EN personally. I might actually just set it at the 78.6, and if I miss it, then oh well. Right there, and then my stop loss right here. So I'm risking 64 pips to go ahead and get 241. My entry's at 1.70450. So I like that opportunity there. If price does drop down there, then absolutely I'll get in. But if not, and it climbs up, then hey, I missed it personally. But I gave the play, so there you guys go. I'll even draw out the buy box and everything for y'all. So yeah, I like that idea. All right, let's go on to Mr. Gold. Oh, hold up. I'm tripping. Before I go on to gold, sorry. Let me look at arbitrage for Euro NZD real quick. So the daily time frame on arbitrage is starting to set up for a buy. I like that long-termness. 4 hour time frame is called for the sell. Yeah, I would like for price to just, dang, this was perfect too. I had set it up and everything. But again, we got the exit. Then price called for a sell, then called for a buy. The next candle, then it dropped and gave a sell. So unfortunately, that was just, we were just being played last week. But yeah, 1 hour about to call for the buy. 15 minutes about to call for the buy. But again, I want that push down to the 78.6 personally. If you want it, you can buy it here. That's all up to you. Your stop loss or my stop loss, if I were to buy right here, would just be hella like double basically what it is right now. So let's see what it would be actually. So if I were to buy here, yeah, look at 115 pips at the 61.8 when I'd rather just risk 64, 65 pips down here. So I'm just gonna be patient and wait. Mr. Gold. Ooh, gold, man. Hey, this sell was nice last week. I'm not even gonna lie to everybody. But and I already had mentioned this. This is what I'm looking for on gold. Ultimately, though, if I were gonna get into another position, is I would need gold to climb up to like 1860 and then drop down to 1806. That's what I'm looking at personally for gold, because I'm looking for buy entries on gold. I'm just gonna be real. I'm looking for another buy entry down here for gold, but that's not what's gonna happen right now. We have to be patient with it. So sorry. So again, I'm looking for, this even looks like a head and shoulders right here. So price can just continue going to the downside. But I still like this, but I still like the sell, pushing, like I said, for price to come down to like 1800, and then I'll look to be buying it once it gets there. Right? So let's go to arbitrage real quick. See what the daily looks like. Daily not ready to sell yet, absolutely. The 4 hour is called for the sell. And it's already retested this RSI line. So for it to, it looks like it's just going to keep dropping from here, guys. And if you weren't able to sell last week, or you got into the sell and got out, then unfortunate for you. This is looking like it's calling for a sell as well right now. So yeah, doesn't look like it might give us that retest that I wanted, but I still am looking for price to hit 1800. I said that last week, and I still stand by it right now. So 1802, 1802, 20 pips away from where I'm looking to buy at. That's where I'm still looking to take this sell to. All right, that's for gold. U.S. indices, it's gonna be tough, man. I'm upset about that sell that price literally waked me out of it and then came back down. But this looks nice for a potential entry for a sell. I personally speaking, I don't want to trade. I really don't want to trade the U.S. indices right now. And it's for multiple reasons. One, New Year. Two, vaccine talks. I don't know what that's going to do to the markets. Three, New Year, honestly. But U.S. indices, it looks like they might be at a spot where they could potentially drop down. Personally speaking, it does look pretty nice for a sell. I wouldn't be looking for buys here necessarily. But like I said, I'm not caring for trying to get into these trades. But price did drop, consolidated, dropped again, holding at the zone. If it could come to the 78.6, hey, maybe I'll try my shot because I did try to sell over here previously. So yeah, if I can get a 78.6 hit, then yeah, sure, I'll get into a sell. So alarm, 78.6 fib. And so let's see if we can get that on S&P. If we can get it, then hey, I'll take it, sure. But it's not something that I'm crazy over. You feel me? So yeah, I'm just going to be watching it. Let's go to Dow Jones. Same thing. This actually looks better than the S&P, but again, I can get wrecked right here, literally, because that's what happened last week, where I was like, oh, it's at the 78.6. It could stop right here and drop. Ends up pushing up to make a higher high. So that's like, again, these are reasons why I don't want to trade the U.S. indices. But this looks amazing for a sell too. I'm not going to get into it personally, but for my risky sellers, if you want to, be my guest. That is an awesome trade. Personally, I'm just giving it out, but I'm not getting into it. I'm just keeping it real with you guys. And so yeah, 3.7 risk reward ratio. Let's see how that plays out. There. Same thing as that. Ripple, cryptocurrencies. So let's take a look at Ripple on the daily time frame, right? So I had mentioned that, okay, so this 77 cents area got hit, which if you look to the left, that's the same area that the price had hit back in 2018 before it had dropped, right? I'm still looking for Ripple to come down to 36 or 40 cents before personally I keep buying more, because I'm in Ripple for the long term, not for the short term. But yeah, I still want price to come down to this 40 cents area. The sell that I had proposed like 2 weeks ago, I've been way out of it. But I know that there's some people that might be still into it. But yeah, so again, just looking for this overall on Ripple. Long-term type move for it to hit $1. If it comes from 37 cents to $1, then you would be making at least almost even, you'll be making 172% of your investment. So that's more than double, almost even triple your investment. So that's why I'm looking into that for Ripple. Let me look at the 4-hour, honestly. Yeah, it's just been sideways. It has to break through this low here for it to continue. Let's see. Let's see what arbitrage is looking like for Ripple. So ooh, this is just calling for an exit on this. But if price holds here, then we could see a push to like 55 cents on Ripple very shortly. If price bounces from where it's currently at. If price continues lower, then we won't get that. But let's even see this right here. Ooh, hit that 61.8. Hey, who knows? Maybe this isn't going to go bullish. The 4-hour time frame, absolutely overextended. Daily time frame, just getting ready to even start calling for a sell. So, I mean, I don't know. Ripple, like I said, I'm waiting for it to hit like 38 to 40 cents. I'm going to buy some more, and then we'll see how things play out. Bitcoin. Mr. Bitcoin, I'm not ready for you to sell yet, yes? Or I'm not ready for you to buy yet, yes? I'm not confident this is going to buy quite yet still. Let me see from here, from this drop here. I mean, price did come down and hit the 61.8 from this drop. Payton did hit that for the buy. But again, I'm still standing by it. I don't think personally until 2021 that we're gonna hit 20K on Bitcoin just yet. What I would really want to see happen. I mean, I still overall want to see this happen. Price come down to like 16,000 to 15,000 to continue to the upside. But realistically speaking, from here, this doesn't look like it wants to come back down. I would have to just be patient and wait to see what happens. I mean, I would love for just price to come back up here, respect this, then drop. That's ultimately what I would love. But at this point in time, it doesn't even look like that's going to happen. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, the daily candles aren't really special either. But again, I'm not feeling it. I think this is going to drop more. I mean, I think this is going to pop more than it's going to drop. So I'm just going to leave it alone. You know? Let's see what arbitrage is talking about. 4 hour. And caught for that buy. Caught for that buy yesterday at 10. Continued up. 1 hour setting up for a sell. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll look for this type of sell to 18,000. I don't know. Nah, I'm not really. But like I said, I personally want Bitcoin to drop down to 15,000 before hitting 20K. I don't think it's going to hit there quite yet. But hey, let's see what happens. And last trade that I'm going to look at, unless anybody else has anything else to say, is GJ. This move that I gave last week played out nicely. Get all this out of here. And then go on to the daily. I still need price to come in just to keep dropping down here. Like we were already on the sell from up here. Price has just been playing around, but I still expect GJ to keep dropping down. Again, huge gap to the upside with all these GP pairs and the USD pairs. Currently 103 pip gap. I'm not looking to trade this at all. I do know that I did give a swing trade for the long-term move on GJ, and I still have that here. Nope, not that one. This one, right? So, yeah, this one did move in profit pretty decently. It might even have hit break even. Let's see. It was 265 pips. I doubt it. 232. Very close to it, right? But I mean, it's just been so long. If you're a good swing trader like how I usually say I am, then you can still hold this and wait for a drop. But other than that, I'm not trading GJ either. There's nothing really that I'm looking at to try to get into right now, you know? So that's just me. But I do want overall for this to still continue to drop down to even 133.138. Arbitrage, same thing, way out of whack because of the gaps and everything. But this called for a buy, just like how GA called for a buy. 4 hour, nothing too crazy. Daily, it was about to call for the sell, but it never happened. So yeah, that's just GJ looks pretty. I just don't like seeing gaps because then it just throws off my trading. So I have to wait now. But other than that, is there any other pairs anybody else wants me to look at or anything that anybody wants me to take a look at before I hop off? Nothing? All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you guys for hopping on. I'll be posting up the OGN. Sure thing. I'll take a look at GPNZD. It's kind of the same thing. I figured, but it's kind of the same thing with GN. I don't really care for either. That was the last one that I had done. I don't really care for seeing this gap to the downside right here, but price did fall a lot on GN. So basically what I would be looking for right about now on GN is for price to retrace to up here to like to 71% or even the 61.8, then continue to the downside. It did break through this zone that I had drawn out last time. It's going to weekly. Where is it at? Yes, right here, I believe. No, not right here. So price did break out of this zone right here. And so at this point, as I mentioned, I would need the retest of this right here, which retests the zone that it previously broke off of. So a break and retest. Like I said, there's certain instances where I would want to break and retest, and this is one of those. And then I'll continue taking it to the downside, maybe even possibly to an extension. But as of right now, that's what I'm looking for. Seeing that gap in the market, I don't like seeing that. But if price does climb back up here, then hey, maybe I'll give it a shot and sell it. Because like I mentioned, when I got on here, price does climb up most of the time with gaps, and then it ends up dropping. So if I get that push up here, I'll take that sell. All right, and I will look at arbitrage real quick. Daily time frame, nada. 4-hour time frame, called the sell like last week, then dropped like crazy. GN on the 1 hour called for the buy, but again, I'm just waiting for the retracement at this point. And same thing here, have the gap to the upside. So that's about it. GN, I like the climb up and then the push down for sure. Any other questions? None. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I'll post up the recording very shortly, and let's see what the market gives us this week. I hope y'all have a good one. Later.